Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Gwent. This week we're going to be looking at a Northern Realms Trebuchet focused deck. So the deck tick should be following right now. Alright, I'll see you there. Alright, so this is the deck for this week. It is a full test Northern Realms deck that revolves around the Reinforced Trebuchet. So Reinforced Trebuchet says every 3 turns remove 2 strength from a random opposing non-gold unit. So really what we want to be doing is letting the rounds go on for as long as humanly possible so that we can get as much damage out as possible. 5 strength on their own is pretty sweet, but every single 3 turns they deal a lot of damage. We have plenty of ways of getting these back. In fact, the whole deck revolves around getting these back essentially, and also keeping them safe. So first things first, let's look at our leader ability. So full test allows us to choose a bronze unit on our side of the battlefield and spawn an exact copy of it on the same row. So if we've only got one trebuchet, we might want to full test and get another one. If we put an adrenaline rush on our trebuchet as well, which allows us to keep it on the battlefield at the end of the round, it's essentially the monster's faction ability. If we've had that applied to the card, then full test copying it actually keeps every single buff attached to it as well, so the copy will have adrenaline rush on it as well. So there's a lot of little combinations that we've got here. This deck is actually kind of hard to pilot. You have to know every single card in the deck for the most part, because we have a lot of filtering for random cards like Reaver Scout that chooses the next card on the top of our deck that's bronze essentially. So we need to know what we're hitting there, which a lot of the times we can actually figure out if we just look through our graveyard and through our hand. It's quite easy to tell for the most part. Right, so we've got our trebuchets, but they're probably quite easy to get removed. Well, we've got field medics, so in the first round we probably want to throw the round. So we'll get our trebuchets out, we'll get them into the graveyard, but our field medics will be able to pull them back. Field medic is a permadeath unit that says resurrect a random non-gold, non-permadeath unit. So with field medic we can grab any bronze unit from out of our graveyard. So most of the time he's going to grab a Reinforced Trebuchet, because as you can see we've actually set up the deck in such a way that it can only really hit Trebuchet or another way of getting a Trebuchet. So if it doesn't hit a Trebuchet, it hits a Reaver Scout, and Reaver Scout says choose a bronze unit on your side of the battlefield and play an instance of it. So if Field Medic hits Reaver Scout selects a Trebuchet on our side of the battlefield and gets one from our deck instead, if we've got one in there anyway. So we've got a lot of ways to constantly get these guys back onto the battlefield and keep them safe that way. As I said, we're going to be throwing the round most of the time. So we've got things like Regis, Vampire, who is relentless. Whenever Regis is removed from the battlefield, transform Regis into Regis Higher Vampire. So he becomes an 8 strength silver card on the next round. He's kind of like the prize winning cow, but he's not targetable on our first turn, and actually because he's gold and our faction ability as Northern Realms says that whenever a gold unit appears it gets +2 strength for being gold essentially. So Regis says he's 6 here, but he's actually an 8 strength creature. So next we've got our Reaver Scouts. As I mentioned, we get to pull a bronze unit from our side of the battlefield and play an instance of it. Most of the time we want to select Reinforced Trebuchet. However, if there's none to get, then we want to play Reaver Scout to grab a Field Medic. Field Medic resurrects a Trebuchet. So we've got combos going left, right and centre in this deck. So that's what it's for. Reaver Scout could also perhaps just, you know, sit there as a 3 power body really. So he's a little bit hit and miss. There are cards that I would change for this guy, because once one's out on the battlefield you can't select one to get the other. I found that having 3 Reaver Scouts was just a little bit too much, because Reaver Scout usually just grabs a Reaver Scout and Reaver Scout doesn't grab anything, because you're either getting Reinforced Trebuchet or a Field Medic to get a Trebuchet, and if you can't do either of them then you're just playing a 3 strength creature essentially. So you can be a bit hit and miss. There is a silver card, I think her name's Naneke, that says resurrect a non-gold, non-permadeath unit. So we could actually select Sile de Danzeville, I can't pronounce the name properly, or we could get a Trebuchet back from that as well. So this lady here, 6 strength and is a mage. Remove 4 strength from an opposing non-gold unit. This is just kind of our little bit of removal. Added her in mostly because I could. She might be also, if you're going to cut a card, this might actually be her as well. But she's pretty sweet. The 10-point swing, essentially. 6 strength on ours and removing 4 from your opposing units. It's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. We then have Shani. This is another resurrection card for our Northern Realms deck. So she's got permadeath. And it says, resurrect a non-gold, non-permadeath unit and convert it to gold until removed from the battlefield or the round ends. So Shani can resurrect our Trebuchets and she instantly converts them to gold, which makes them 7 strength. And also, gold means that they cannot be targeted by your opponent's stuff. There's a very few cards that can do, anyway. I believe there's a few that can touch gold units, but yeah, for the most part, Shani's going to get one of these Trebuchets back, and they're not going to be able to be touched for the rest of the round, so it's pretty sweet. Yet another way of getting more units. Yet again, we can chain Shani by grabbing Reaver Scout to get our Reinforced Trebuchet. She can't get the Field Medics, though, because it is non-permadeath cards, and it is non-gold as well, so we can't get Regis. However, if Regis is in the graveyard, we probably can get Regis Higher Vampire, so that's a 10 strength gold card right there if it's the next round. So that's essentially the battlefield. So how are we going to control the battlefield? Oh no, I forgot as well. We've got Prince Stennis. So yet again, we are going to be throwing the first round, and Prince Stennis is a decent way to get a decent redraw. So if you notice in this little card here, that means he's disloyal, which means he goes on your opponent's side. So as a cost for us having the ability, our opponent gets 8 strength. Now if we're throwing the first round, giving them 8 strength absolutely means nothing to us. Plus it's also a silver card, which means our Trebuchets can hit it if it is not the first round and we still need to make those points up. We're giving ourselves a target essentially to take that 8 points off. But his ability is draw 1 card face up and 1 card face down, and we get to keep one and return the other to our deck. So we can essentially, if we're looking for our Trebuchets, we can, if we find a Trebuchet on the face up card, then we take it. If not, then we take the face down card. This is why it's really important to know what cards are in your deck, because you can kind of predict what the face down card is more often than not. It's pretty good. It's quite a consistent deck, is this one. It gives you a lot of the same stuff over and over again. You pretty much play through the entire deck for the most part. You certainly get most of the battlefield board state onto the battlefield at one point or another in the game, or at least it's in your graveyard eventually. So we've got a lot of ways of pushing things through. So we either take the face-up card we know, or the face-down card we don't know, and we've got a pretty good chance of predicting what that face-down card is. So if the face-up one's no good to us, then we take the face-down, obviously. We then have Lacerate. This is a row board wipe, essentially. It says, remove 3 strength from all non-gold units on a row. So this is really good against monsters when they're using Breedable, or they've just had their Wild Hunt Riders out onto the front row. 3 strength all the way across the board. Depending on how far our opponent's gone on a particular board state, we can really do some damage. So it's quite a varied strength remover, but it can be pretty brutal for our opponent if they've not really thought about it and we lacerate the board off. And it can then put them in range of our Trebuchets as well, which can hit them and take them off the board for good, which is awesome. We then have Promote. This is one of the main mechanics for Northern Realms for the most part. Convert all instances of a non-gold unit on your side of the battlefield to gold until removed from the battlefield or the round ends. So this is one of our ways of keeping our Trebuchets safe. So if we've got all 3 on the battlefield, or even 4 if we've made a copy with full test, then we use Promote, turns them all to gold, and the faction ability gives them +2 each. So we can get a fair bit of a buff off this Promote. It's not just convert them to gold, it's actually convert them to gold and get about 6 strength on top of that as well. And then they can't be targeted. If we've had, for example, a Adrenaline Rush on our card as well, and then we promote it, we've got a gold card with Adrenaline Rush that continues on to the next round, still gold as well, which is pretty sweet. We then have Reinforcement. Reinforcement is essentially a Reaver Scout, but really hyper-powered. So Reinforcement says, play all instances from your deck of a bronze unit on your side of the battlefield. So if we've only got 1 Trebuchet, we can thin our deck out entirely and get the other 2 copies out, which is pretty sweet. If we want to have a mass resurrection, we can also get our Field Medics, which can get our other 2 Field Medics, which can get 2 more cards out of the deck, which is also awesome. I think a really good chain would be to Reinforcement get all of our field medics, that gets all of our Reaver Scouts, that gets both of our copies of Trebuchet out the deck. That's really rare, but it's possible. So it's something to consider. You can chain together quite a lot of this deck and get pretty out of hand quite quickly. We then got Thunderbolt Potion. So Thunderbolt Potion gives 4 strength to all instances of a non-gold unit on its side. And if it's a Witcher, you add 6 strength instead. We don't have any Witchers, so it's not likely to happen. But we have a lot of 3-ofs in our Field Medics and our Trebuchets. And before we make them gold, we can give them an extra 4 strength each. And then make them gold for an extra 2 strength, and then they can't be touched. So we can really lock our opponent out of the game by making some powerful units that can't be interacted with, which is pretty sweet. Next we've got Scorch. Destroy the strongest non-gold units on the battlefield. Now, one of the main weaknesses of this deck is Skellige and their weakness variant. There is a card that says whenever a unit is weakened, you gain 2 strength. Well, Scorch allows them to overcommit to that card, and then we Scorch it to deal like 20 to 30 points of damage, perhaps. Scorch essentially just hits the strongest unit on the opposite side, and if they're tied, it hits all of them. So we can really blow out our opponent there. We're not really running some big creatures that don't get very big. If we are running a big creature, or a big unit, it's usually our Trebuchets, and we've made them gold by that point, so this Scorch doesn't actually hit them. So there's a lot of opportunities for Scorch to hit quite a fair few targets for quite a lot. So this is just one of those outs to a really bad matchup, which is Skellige weakness. We then have Adrenaline Rush. We have spoken about this. Keep a non-gold unit on the battlefield at the end of the round. So if in the first round, if we're not sure about throwing the game or not, we just Adrenaline Rush a Reinforced Trebuchet, and that allows us to keep it on to the next round, which essentially is the monster's faction ability in a nutshell. It allows us to keep a Trebuchet around for another round, and its timer sticks around as well. So if you time it right, then you get to hit their opponent on their first turn, that kind of stuff. We then have First Light, so we've got a really, really weak board to weather as well, which is why we're running all 3 copies of First Light. And as a backup as well, it's not dead in our deck if we're not against weather, because it allows us to use Clear Skies, which gets all the weather off the board, because we have nothing that's immune to weather except for gold cards, essentially. So we want to make sure that the board is clear of all weather. If we're not playing against a weather variant of any kind, then we can use Rally instead, which allows us to play a random bronze unit from your deck. So Rally can hit Trebuchets, it can hit Reaver Scouts to grab as a Trebuchet, it can hit a Field Medic to grab as a Reaver Scout to hit a Trebuchet. It can grab a Field Medic to grab as a Reinforced Trebuchet. As you can see, there's a lot of chaining to be done. It doesn't hit non-gold units as well. So every single card that the Rally effect can hit has some sort of way of getting us to a Trebuchet. So our Shani's and our Regis's and our Silver Tavanna's Bill, that card. Those are the cards that we don't want to hit. And we're not going to be able to hit them because it is only bronze units as well, which is pretty sweet. So we're running 3 copies of that to fight against weather, and also as a backup to grab us some more Trebuchets and some more cards on our board. Finally, we have a single copy of Dimeritium Bomb. Reset all units on the battlefield to their base strength. So if our opponent is playing Skellige weakness and they've got a 60 strength weakness, 60 strength unit or something like that, we can use Dimeritium Bomb, return it back to 4 strength, I believe it will be, and take the game from there. If our opponent's running loads of rally cards, like Commander's Horn, that kind of thing, then we get to reset that all back to its base strength as well. So it's really good for us. It will debuff us on our gold cards as well, because we do get the faction ability for adding 2 strength. It will take that off, but it's so minimal if we're actually using that against a deck that does a last minute Commander's Horn or something like that. We can just immediately negate that entirely, and every single buff they've had up to that point is just useless to them. So that's going to be the deck anyway, guys. If you like the look of it, then be sure to stick around for the matches that should be following very shortly, immediately in fact, after this video. Alright guys, I'll see you in the matches.
For Skellige's glory! Crush those vermin!
Okay, so we're against Clan on Craite. Let's look at our hand. Dimer-eating bomb's quite good for Clan on Craite if he's going for the war cry kind of version. We've got a lot of trebuchets in hand. We don't need more than one promote. Prince Stennis is a redraw, so I'm not against that. And I guess I'll get rid of the mage at the moment and another field medic. So we're kind of set up to throw the first round. Play things like Regis so that we get the higher vampire on the next round. Play Stennis so we get some redraws. It gives them a little bit of power that makes absolutely no difference to us, so we'll be doing that on this round. And Adrenaline Rush to throw out onto our Trebuchets if we choose to actually try go for the round. At least we've got Trebuchets for the next. We're on the play, so I guess we're going to go with Regis.
Your powers of deduction seem to wane not one bit.
8 points. Straight up. Alright. Our opponent goes with Berserker Marauder, so it turns into a bear when moved to the graveyard. So yeah, it looks like they're going for a weakness kind of thing. So if they are going for war cries and stuff like that, Dimer-eating Bomb is exactly positioned for this kind of situation. How long do we want this round to go? I guess I'll throw a Trebuchet into the field, because then our field medics at least have something to grab. Because right now Regis is the only card that's going to go into our graveyard on the next round, and the field medics can't hit it. And if we're going to do it, we might as well do it now, because we need that clock to tick down. So, gain 2 strength whenever another unit on your side is weakened. Lacerate would be nice for you. But we've got 2 turns until that happens. Leading by 13 points. If I throw out Stennis, then he probably just passes and then we're forced to play another card. So I guess we'll just play our other Trebuchet. Let's do it. We've got them staggered now, which is pretty nice. And he goes with his Clan on Craite, which has actually put his Axeman out of Lacerate range. Well, if we Adrenaline Rush this turn, then he either passes and we just play like a field medic, or even just full test our Adrenaline Rushed copy to take the round, and we get to keep our Trebuchets. So let's Adrenaline Rush this one. If he's going to remove one, it's going to be the one that's going to go off next. And this one should, in theory, go off pretty much at the start of the round.
Fire and iron.
So if we had a Scorch, it'd be lovely, but we don't. I think we just create a copy of this Trebuchet here. And then go to promote it, probably. Make it gold for the next round. So he gains 2 strength whenever another unit's weakened, so this is the only unit we can hit where he'll lose points, essentially. So this strategy right now is not benefiting us. We do have Dimer-eating Bomb as well. I think he was a 4 he starts out at, so he'd lose 6 points for that. Let's create another copy. So he might force us to just Dimer-eating Bomb this to take the round, but I don't really want to do that. If he passes, we probably just promote and maybe even just Stennis so that he doesn't get the point advantage on us next round. So this is just a redraw, but it gives him 8 strength. So if it doesn't matter that we're giving him 8 strength, then there's no downside for us to play it this round. Who the hell are you? Remove 3 strength from this unit. Then when the strongest opposing non-gold units... Oh. We killed something. When removed from the battlefield spawn, Craven revived on the same row. Add 2 strength to any non-gold unit appearing on the row. Should we lacerate the board then so that he gets this guy back on this round? This guy gets buffed up like 4 times though, but Dimeritium Bomb will just reset him to his normal state. Yeah, let's do that. We're gonna have to promote this. Oh no! Damn it! That was what I was really not hoping to see. All right, well, we're just gonna print Stennis.
This is priceless.
And take the unknown card. First light. Okay, that's actually quite good. So our opponent's easily got this. Yeah. Loses 20 down to 22. And then 2 points there down to 20. Still got the round. We can't possibly... Well, we could use every single card in our hand to get back to where we need to be, but it's just not worth it, so we'll just pass. Let him have this round. We've set up our graveyard quite nicely though, so that is a good sign, but so is he kind of, so we're going to see. We get our Higher Vampire back for 8 strength. We get a Promote, which is a dead card really, and an Adrenaline Rush. Ugh. Our opponent's on the play. So,
I can help you if you wish.
the only thing our... Oh, hang on. We're bugging out. There we go. The only thing our field medics can hit now is Trebuchets. And you just know that we're going to be doing that. If possible, discard 2 cards and draw 2 cards. Hermione. Yes. We could also thin our deck out to get the... Well, actually, if we first lighted for a rally effect, it could hit a Reaver Scout, which is a dead card, so we don't want to be doing that. We'll just field medic.
Like a swine in that jacket.
Get a Trebuchet back. Doesn't have a target right now, but I'm sure it will. Our opponent's staring at our cards. What are you doing that for? Opponent passes. Okay, well, we Adrenaline Rush this so we can keep it. And we take the round. Don't think there's anything in our graveyard we want back this round. It's just Trebuchets. And... yeah, I suppose we could promote it. But then we miss out on this hit right here. So we'll just pass here. We miss a trigger out if we end up promoting. So it's down to this. Ooh, lovely. Oh, we miss it anyway. Never mind. Well. Let's resurrect another Trebuchet. Then we'll promote them both. Shani to get back the 3rd one, and that gets converted to gold as well. War Longship, remove 2 strength from a random opposing non-gold unit whenever a unit on your side is destroyed or you discard. So you can only hit our field medic now. And we get buffed up. Sweet. Okay. Dimeritium Bomb's going to be really cool, but we've got to use it at the right time because we are a card down, which means they're going to be playing theirs last. What's First Light hit? First Light hits a Resurrection Field Medic or a Reaver Scout that gets us the other Field Medic that gets us maybe the Trebuchet. Has he got Weather though? That's the thing. Weather doesn't affect our Trebuchets here though, so I guess we'll just First Light here. Rally. Hit a Reaver Scout. Hits a Field Medic.
Like a
Field Medic. Hits a Trebuchet. It's a pretty decent turn.
We'll greet it, well, like fire and iron.
Nice. Nice. Alright. This guy's one hit away from being destroyed, so he's got to play some weakness cards in order to buff this guy up. Is Shani hitting anything anymore? Shani could hit Regis Higher Vampire, which would be a 10-point lead. That's about it. And that's some more golds that Swore Longship can't hit. Yeah, so Shani for... Actually, Shani for Field Medic gets Higher Vampire, then we promote all of our Field Medics, and then Reaver Scout's the only one that can be hit. On its non-permadeath, isn't it? So we can only hit Regis here. It's 43 points. We're not going to be able to Dimeridium Bomb in the way that we'd like, by the looks of it. Goes for a rally. Gets a Raging Berserker. That could bite us in the arse. Final turn. Make our Field Medics gold for +4. Most of our board is now gold. Which is pretty sweet. Does this affect... Resets all units on the battlefield to their base strength, so yeah, we don't want to be doing that actually, because that'll hit us as well. For more than we'd probably like to see. So we're going to pass and hope he hasn't got 26 points in his hand. Got to also take into account every single trigger off of these Reinforced Trebuchets, which could hit anything, to be honest. If it hits anything but this Axeman before it dies, then...
Barrels of burning pitch.
What are you going for? That guy at the back. Okay. Ah, you see, that's the problem. Still has to make up 17 points. He can only remove 8 from us. So we're just going to pass. Dimeridium Bomb hits nothing here. You got something to hit a gold card. Oh, Dimeridium Shackles. Makes it back to silver again. Okay. Gives him a target, I suppose, for his last card. It's 15 points in his last card. Does he have it? If it's Warcry, we lose. Commander's Horn is not enough. That's going to be the game. Wonderful. Pass the turn. Turn goes back. Oh, that was too close for comfort. 45 to 42. GG. Sweet, we got some ore. And we win 2 rounds, so we get probably either 15 scraps or 15 ore here. I'm hoping for scraps because I have something to actually craft. Yay, wonderful. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next game.
Close ranks!
Okay, so we're up against Dagon, which means this is likely a weather matchup, so these first lights are really good. We've got Reinforcement to grab all copies of a card, which means Reinforced Trebuchet is pretty sweet with that. Reaver Scout can hit another Field Medic in a future turn, I guess. I don't see really anything wrong with this hand. It's a little iffy with just one Trebuchet, because we're going to have to play a Field Medic to get it back, but... yeah, I think we can take this. Let's do it. No redraws necessary. We're on the play. So it's Trebuchet into Reinforcement into Promote, probably. Gets them all into our graveyard, and then we've got 2 Field Medics and a Reaver Scout to get a Field Medic to get as a Trebuchet. So we can get all of our Trebuchets back on the next round. Clear Skies for most of his weather stuff, though I'm sure he's got more than 2 weather effects. We've also got Thunderbolt Potion as well. So let's play the Trebuchet, see if he removes it. He goes with just a Foglet. Okay. We're going to get every single instance of our Trebuchet out of our deck. Mutagen to pump up his Foglet. Do we promote them to keep them out of harm's way? I feel like we do. He's got 10 points to make up. If we make them gold, weather doesn't hurt us. So he's still got 10 points to make up over 2 turns. It's 12 on the next turn, actually, because Reinforced Trebuchet is going to go off this turn, and then the next one he's got to get 16 points. So yeah, I'm gonna promote them. Plus, now that we've promoted him, that's a 6-point swing as well. Always forget about that. Goes with a golem. When removed from the battlefield, spawn 2 lesser golems on the row where that unit was. What is the Rayleigh to do other than pass and just try to get cards out of his hand? I think that's what we're going to do. If he plays a card, he gets hit for 4 points. And there's plenty of things to hit here. Yeah, he's just going to let it go. We can get back all of our Trebuchets. He keeps his Golem, which means he gets no advantage from it on this round unless it dies. We get a Lacerate and another Reaver Scout. Did not want to see that other Reaver Scout because we got no targets for it. So it's going to be Field Medic.
You sweat like a swine in that jacket.
For another Trebuchet. A Water Hag. Okay. So we've got Clear Skies for that, but I'd rather wait on that. Just because I reckon there's going to be more than that coming along. We'll go Reaver Scout.
But we're broke as shit peddlers.
Get Field Medic. Get another Trebuchet. Goes down to 1 again.
Resistance is futile.
Ah, damn you. Yeah, that is one of the problems. I think the other Reaver Scout could... No, it's already got all 3 Trebuchets. So this Reaver Scout does nothing. He's got to have more Wild Hunt Warriors, hasn't he? So we're going to have to Clear Skies here. Because if he has another, then he just takes out a Trebuchet again. And I don't think we can handle that. An Ancient Foglet. Yeah, this is full-on weather. Although I'm not sure why Golem's in a weather deck. Doesn't seem to really be helping his cause much. The final Field Medic can hit another Trebuchet. We can make a copy of it. Thunderbolt Potion. For 16 if we did it on the Trebuchets. But then they're in Scorch range. Let's go get back our other Trebuchet. Right, we're holding on to this first light card like our life depends on it because he is setting up right now for his Dagon, probably. We know he's got weather, so it's when he starts to use it that's the question. Holding on to the Lacerates because I want to make sure that he's got plenty on the board so we can get the most out of it. So our options are here to full test a medic, which will get us our final Trebuchet back, or just Reaver Scout. And then we could Thunderbolt Potion the Field Medics then. I think we'll just Reaver Scout now, see if we can get another card out of him. We're going for the win this round. Quen Sign. So anything that reduces their damage is negated once with the Quen Sign, which includes our Trebuchets, unfortunately. Do we Lacerate to get that Quen Sign off the board so that our next Trebuchet shot can deal 2 damage? Or do we make another Trebuchet We're free from Scorch thanks to his board state. I think we just Trebuchet ourselves. Let's make another copy of this one.
Vermin!
There's his weather. Okay. We're gonna lacerate those guys off the board. He wants to use Torrential Rain. Okay. Question is, do we think he's got weather in those last 3 cards? How much has he used? Let's have a look. He's used Torrential Rain, he's used White Frost, and that's it. He's used his faction ability as well, or his leader card. So I think the option here is to lacerate here for the most damage. Clear Skies Thunderbolt Potion. Or Thunderbolt Potion Clear Skies. Yeah. Let's do that.
Who taught you to fight like this?
Oh my god. I did not anticipate that. Well, even if we clear skies now, I think we probably just lose. Clear skies is our only option though, really. Let's get rid of all the weather on the board. That's 12 points on a Thunderbolt Potion. But he's just made up 9, so... What's left in our deck? We've had all of our healers, we've had all of our Trebuchets, we've had all of our Reaver Scouts. There's just our Vampire dude, Regis, and there's Shani. But I think the rest are just buffs. We haven't had any Adrenaline Rushes, we've had all of our Lacerates. We're 1 First Light in the deck as well. So 12 points on our thing is taking us not high enough to win, so we're going to have to pass. We're literally going down to top decks here. We either hit something decent that is also better than the card he has in his hand plus the card he keeps, which is a Wild Hunt Rider, plus his Elementals. There's Regis. It's not enough. It's just not enough. Yep. That's the game right there. Ah, dear.
I know you're in trouble. I can help.
Run out of options there.
Damn it.
And Geralt hard. Yeah. If we'd have had a Lacerate there, it still wouldn't have been enough. And it would. It would. That's annoying. Alright, well, that's the game. Sucks. Can't win them all though. We got a round out of him. That's all that matters. GG to you, sir. GG. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. So if you did enjoy the video, then be sure to leave a like. It helps me out a great deal. Lets me know you're enjoying this series. If you enjoy Gwent and you want to see more of it, then be sure to hit that subscription button. If you're already subscribed and you haven't already, then be sure to hit the bell icon right next to the subscription button. It'll notify you when I release new videos. Alright guys, I will see you next time. Bye bye.